Welcome to Inspired by Design, the podcast where we explore the tools, stories, and insights to help you rediscover your authentic self and navigate life with less resistance. I'm Katie Rupert, a former hustle and grind overachiever on a thrilling and messy journey. I love to share what I'm learning and help others in self-discovery using human design. So, if you're seeking a way to move forward, let me be your weekly mindset coach and share stories to inspire you to action towards your unique purpose without the force or burnout. Today is going to be real, vulnerable, and a little woo-woo. But I woke this morning and was thinking about an old friend of mine from high school. He passed away in 2002, and it was in a car accident, very, very tragic, someone that I really enjoyed being around, someone who was a little bit of a class clown, life of the party. He was so young. And I remember the day that he passed away very, very vividly. And looking back on it, the couple of things that stand out to me are there was this stoplight that I turned right at to leave school every day. I was a junior in high school. And I remember at the stoplight being like, oh, I hate when I catch the stoplight. And I looked down at the clock and it was like a synchronistic number. I don't remember the number. I want to say it was like 222 or 223 because 23 is my favorite number or something along those lines. But I remember looking at the time and just noticing it. I hope that makes sense. And then, I don't know, maybe a couple hours later that night, one of my friends from class called me on the old school landline phone to let me know that Ryan had passed away. And I recently, in the last year, I've been going through a separation, and it was a 20-year relationship. One of the things that I've consistently done since I was, probably 10, 12 years old is journal consistently. And so I've been reading my journals over this time of pain, healing, transition in my life, if you will. And I remember at some point in the last year going by that timing of when he passed, journaling to myself, praying, trying to make sense of it like we all would. And I kept living life and he didn't. I remember that being really a big deal as a teenager. I was 16. I think he was 16. Anyway, so I want to share that background story because in 2022, it was October, the first day of October, I was doing a leadership retreat with my Pampered Chef team. It was all directors, leaders on this retreat. I don't even remember where we were, maybe Colorado or something like that. Anyhow, I was sitting in a circle with all these gals doing a get to know you event or game. And we had each brought a gift playing the Rob Your Neighbor game. And it was usually we would bring something that we really enjoy, something that we like. And when it got stolen, whoever the owner of it was would be like, I brought that because it means this to me. So I don't know, think my favorite kind of journal, my favorite kind of eyeshadow, that sort of thing, like bring a favorite thing and we'll play a game with it and then share what it means to us. So I ended up, I don't even remember what I got, but the person next to me got this gag gift, and it was this pink plasticky rubber material. And I can't remember, it's like mustaches or something, and you could make ice out of them. So it was a gag gift ice tray. And it was this specific pinkish color. And I looked over at that, and out of nowhere, I thought about Ryan Shirley, who passed away. And I thought, huh, I haven't thought about him in a really long time. And the reason that it jogged my memory, that pink color, was the same color of these silly little fake Bubba teeth that you could buy like around Halloween maybe, and you put him in. It just looked like he was missing teeth, and sometimes, at least a couple of times, I remember looking back one time during a test in government class, and he opened his mouth to smile and show those teeth, and it was just a silly little memory. But when I saw that color, it jogged my memory, and I thought of those teeth that he wore, and I was like, oh, and that little ping, that little ache in your heart, like, oh man, why did he have to die? So that was that. I just had a fleeting thought about him. And then we did our retreat, and I was on my way home the next day. So um, I'm just thinking, I'm pausing because I'm thinking, I remember telling you that day that Ryan passed away, um, noticing the clock. And one of the things that my friend that had called to tell me on the phone was the time that he passed away, and it was just 1 or 2 minutes after I turned at the stoplight. So within the next stoplight is when he had passed away. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like it could have been any of us at that stoplight. Anyway, okay. So, and the other thing I think about now in retrospect is numbers like that. Like they call them angel numbers. I've looked into this now, and I had an episode with Stacy on here a while back, and she talked about those signs and synchronicities. Like sometimes uh, spirit or your higher self are trying to communicate to you to pay attention or to tell you you're on the right track, and sometimes they'll use numbers, and that's been happening a lot for me over this last year especially. So okay, so I'm at this retreat. It's 2022. It's October. We finish up retreat, and I was flying home with one of my girlfriends who lived near me. She was going to stay at my house and then drive the hour back because it was a really late night flight. And we were at the airport for a while. We were just talking, shooting the breeze. And one of the topics that came up was just the unexplained, the unknown. And I was sharing with this girlfriend that I had been watching all the Netflix series. I don't know if you've watched these. There's like The Unexplained, Beyond Death. It's all these stories of people that had like near death experiences or things, where there was one in particular that these sisters lost their mom, and they told mom that if life after death is real, come back as a cardinal and make sure that we know. And they were like in California when cardinals weren't really there. And this cardinal came and just wouldn't leave these sisters alone. And I just thought that was such a neat story. You can look that up on YouTube. It's a fun one. But we were talking back and forth about life and after death and what we believe. And I was sharing with her, like, I had grown up never believing in anything like that. And I had recently started watching Tyler Henry's show. He's a medium, and he has such a neat way of connecting people to their loved ones' energies and helping them feel comfort when they've lost someone. And I started reading about Teresa Caputo, and I just got really interested in mediumship, in life after death, in like what is there beyond, and when people have a near death experience. Now, I had also was married to a man that had a near death experience, and I knew his story about how time kind of stood still, and he was able to think very clearly, and he made a decision to stay, and he felt like he had the power to make that decision in this moment. Like, are you going to fight for this? Are you going to go ahead and give in to, death? And so it's just been on my mind. And that experience, I think, is probably one that propelled me forward to be interested. That was 2019. So this is 2022. And when I was talking with this girlfriend, she had mentioned, I'm really into that too, but I'm a little scared of it. I don't know what I believe. And I'm like, I'm scared of it too, because um, I've been raised Christian and it feels like there's something more, but I don't understand it. I've always thought that was like, that would be bad or it's wrong. And she said to me that one of our fellow leaders had this gift of mediumship. She's like, did you know that? I was like, oh no. I mean, I knew she feels energy or whatever, because they would go on these ghost hunts and stuff. And I always steered clear. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. But she was telling me about this experience that they had going into haunted house, if you will, and how this gal on our extended team had like these insights that you wouldn't be able to know unless you had this gift to see or experience. And she was trying to explain to me what she knew about it. And then out of the blue, it was like an hour of talking about these things. And then out of the blue, my girlfriend's phone dings and she goes, oh my gosh, it's her. That friend of ours that had this gift that she had just told me about. And she said, oh, I hope that she's like got some insight. She wants to tell me about one of my lost loved ones, because I really want that to happen to me someday. And she was telling me how she had lost a couple of loved ones when they were young and teenagers, and it was family. And she was really hoping someday maybe our friend could like tap into their energy and tell them that, or tell her that they're okay. And she listened to the voice clip. I think it was Facebook Messenger that she got that message. And all it said, this gal was like, hey, I know I was with you last night and I wanted to let you know I came home and I was sick and I took a COVID test and it was positive. This was, 2022. We're still dealing with all of that. So my girlfriend I was sitting next to, she goes, oh, shoot, when she's replying back on voice clip. And she's like, I'm really sorry you're sick. Thanks for letting me know. I just thought I'm disappointed because I thought you were going to tap into my cousin's energies and I was going to get a mediumship reading. And she's like, that's silly. I know. And then she let that go. We kept talking. And a few minutes later, she got another ping and it was her. And she goes, actually, I just got this insight. And she starts asking questions like, were they this? Were they that? Was it a male? Like this kind of thing. And my girlfriend, I'm just sitting back, like, I don't even believe in this stuff, but I'm like really curious about it. So I'm just sitting back, listening, and they go back and forth. And then it's time for us to board our plane. So we start walking, we sit in a different location, and we're getting ready to get on this plane. I'm overhearing these voice clips back and forth on speakerphone. I don't know why we did it on speakerphone, but we were both so interested in it, probably. Anyhow, it's getting late and we're about to board. And I hear these questions. So a lot of times with a medium or someone that, has these gifts, they will ask questions for verification. Do I have the right person? Is this right? I want to make sure I'm not just making this up, right? They want to find out, are they on the right track? Is this message for them or not? So I'm just observing this. And my friend sitting next to me is having more trouble answering the questions that she's asking. She's like, no. And I felt her like trying to stretch to make what the gal was asking fit her situation and her experience. And there was a moment, I remember one of the things was I'm getting the letter R, and the other one, like, like a quick death or something, like car. And there was one other thing. But anyway, I'm like half listening at this point because I'm like, this isn't real. This is weird. I don't even know what's going on here. This is not her cousin or whatever. And there was something came over me. I had chills through my whole body and my eyes got really wide. And I remember I was sitting to the right of my girlfriend and I grabbed her arm and it goes, oh, I know someone that starts with an R. I can answer all these questions. I'm getting chills again. And I was like, I think I know who this is. I think I asked her if it could be for me. And then before I could I was going to grab her phone and do a voice clip back to this gal. And before we got a ping from her and she said, hey girl, I think with you being in a public area, I might be just tapping into someone else's energy. I'm so sorry, but I don't think this is for you. I think the person that I want, like they're trying to like get a hold of someone that's by you um and like even if I was connected to your cousins, I think they've moved aside so this other energy could come through. And me and my girlfriend looked at each other like, holy cow, is this for real? And so I take over the phone and I'm voice clipping back and forth. And she's asking me more questions. And I'm crying like in public crying. Um, and I'm thinking, like, if this is real, like, why? Like, it's been 20 years. It's been, like, I wasn't super close to Ryan. I just remember his death really impacting me, um, in lots of ways. But anyway, so a few of the things that this gal told me, she said, um, she's like, okay, so is I'm getting some kind of like funny, I'm getting like class clown energy. I was like, yeah, that sounds right. And then I told her that the R name, and she's like, okay, okay, that sounds right. And then um, she asked if he had been a partier. And I was like, I really don't know. I didn't hang out with him outside of school. I just remember thinking, oh, he's cute and I enjoy being around him in class. We had this government class together, and there were two other people that we would like goof off in class when we weren't working. And she's like, okay, well, he's wanting me to remember a party that you were there. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. She's like, well, just think about it. Maybe something will come up. And then she's okay. And did he have a nickname for you? And I was like, oh God, I don't know. I don't remember that. I was like, there was one of the people had a nickname, and I thought of that, but I didn't think of his or mine. Okay. And she's like, okay, well, think about that. And so now I'm starting to doubt. Right. But then she says, okay, why is he showing me Mr. Ed? This is like a horse. She's like, it's a horse with big teeth. And it's like silly, funny teeth. And I was like, again, I got chills all down my body. I was like, oh my gosh, he had these buck teeth things that he put in his mouth. And I literally haven't thought about them in 20 years. But last night at this game, there was that color, and it triggered me to think about these teeth. And she goes, okay, yes, that's it. That's so funny. He had the fake teeth, and he was trying to verify that it was him after this couple of things that I couldn't figure out. And then she said, okay, well, do you want to ask him anything? And I was like, are you okay? Like, do you want me to like reach out to your mom and tell you, like, tell her anything? Like, what do you need? And she just said, he just wants you to know he's okay. Everything's okay. And it's all as it should be. And I, of course, I'm crying, and I was like, I don't understand, but here's how I felt. So now we're like literally boarding the plane. I was still trying to talk back and forth with this gal over the phone. And I was like, I just have this overwhelming sense of peace. And I just wish that I could give him a hug. I'm so sad that he didn't get these last 20 years. And she said, he he is I feel like he wants to give you a hug in his own way. So maybe you'll just feel warmth or something. And like at that moment, like, and I'm crying. Okay, so you could make a case for just a kind person would want to hug me. But the flight attendant stopped me from moving forward. And she goes, honey, can I please give you a hug? And so the flight attendant gave me a hug. And I'm losing my mind now. Like, wow, like, how is this real? I feel so seen. I feel so special. I feel so peaceful. And this is something, what's happening right now is something that I thought was bad or wrong or shameful to try and connect with the dead. But I have never felt so close to God. I felt so seen, like you needed this proof that there's more than this experience, because I had had so much doubt in my faith over the last few years. So much like, what is going on? So much seeking, so much unlearning, relearning, trying to figure out what I believe. In this experience, while it was not something I would ask for, it was the perfect thing to happen. And I've never been the same. It opened something up in me that allows mystery and lets it be whatever it needs to be, lets the unknown exist without me striving and forcing to make sense of it. Now, of course, I still try to make sense of all of it. I drive myself nuts with my overthinking. But at the end of the day, and I think about this experience with Ryan, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that for whatever reason, of all the kids in the high school, of all the, people that I know that knew him, loved him, were closer to him. And maybe maybe it was just because I was ready to open up and he had something to share. So that was the story I felt really prompted to tell you. I'll give you a few more little insights. So when I got home from this event, it was like 1 a.m. It was so late. And I ran down to the basement and I dug out my yearbooks and I found that memorial page in my yearbook for him. And I knew I had a picture of him that like his mom had tagged me in. I had had it on a disposable camera, got the film taken. So there's only like one of these pictures out there, and I had scanned it in on my Facebook. So I had found that picture and I sent it over to my friend that had gotten the reading with him. And she's like, yes, is it this person? And in the group photo, oh, I should show you the group photo. I'm going to share my screen. So if you are listening and not watching, if you do go to YouTube, you'll be able to see this picture. So the picture is Ryan on the left, Kenny at the top, and Dan on the right. And then I have myself as in the middle. And this, when I relooked at this picture, I sent it to my friend and she said, yeah, it's the guy on the left. And he really admired you. And I thought, you're kidding. This guy, he was popular. He was a hottie. He was not someone that I would have like hung out with outside of school because we just didn't run in the same crowds. However, I immediately, when I saw this picture, I was like, oh, this was a Christmas party. We had a special day in this government class where we had a Christmas party and they tied me up with duct tape and stuffed Christmas cookies in my mouth. And then we took this picture with that disposable camera. The picture that I'm showing on my screen is a screenshot from I had sent this picture to his mom and it got in the yearbook and stuff. And she had posted it on his anniversary or his birthday or something. So that answered the question about the party. There was a special party that we went to. And then I reached out to one of these guys and I was like, hey, this is going to feel so random. But like, did we have nicknames? I remember yours was DP. And he's like, yeah, yeah. We called him Tiger. They called you Cat. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. That's when Cat, K-A-T is what I went by in college. And that's where it started, was them calling me Cat. So both of those little impressions that, Ryan was sending me to verify that it was him to help me believe, they just fit right in. So I wanted to share those. The other thing was this morning, and the reason that I felt prompted to share this story, I woke up thinking about him and when I wrote the date, April 30th, I thought, this is a Ryan day. And I did have to look up his obituary because I was like, is his birthday or it was actually the day that he passed away. And oddly enough, as I'm recording it, it's in the 2 o'clock hour. So, um, gosh, almost exactly the anniversary that he passed. I don't know exactly why I was prompted, but when I was journaling this morning, I was writing to Ryan like a little mini letter. And I said, I'm so grateful because of you. My life has started this transformation that I would never take back. And yeah, it started before, it probably has been coming my whole life, but that was a really defining moment for me where I had to let go of things that were solidly in my belief. And I couldn't deny that this was real for me. Over the last, gosh, it's been, so it was October of 2022 and it's now April of 2026. And I just celebrate his life today, these last 4 years of knowing that his spirit is still alive and that he's been supporting me and probably many, many others. I just, man, I'm so grateful. So I'm writing him this morning and I got chills and familiar chills whenever a loved one's close by. I feel that. I guess you could call that just a little awakening to sensitivity of spirit being around. And I really do think that the energy of our loved ones can be around and support us when we need it, or just as a little gift. Other things that I've had a few experiences other than that with Ryan, and I just like, I adore them. Like they are special trophies for me, these moments. If you, I don't know if that's the right analogy, but one time, the very first time I ever learned about tarot, actually, I was always scared of tarot as well, but I went to the Reiki share at the chakra healing room. And one of the gals there was talking about how she was working on her mediumship. And of course, I'm very much curious about that still. And I was like, ooh, can you practice on me? She's like, yeah, I'm going to use these tarot cards. And she used this deck called the Light Seers. And the cards that she pulled for me, when she laid one of them down, or I think I had, she like spread them out and I picked a card. And it was a boy with a hood and a backpack. And I remember thinking, oh, this is a picture of Ryan. And I was like, well, that's crazy. Of course it's not. It's like a deck of cards. Of course, this isn't a picture of Ryan. And it didn't show his face. It was a hooded person looking away. And when she gave me this tarot reading, she said, you have a spirit guide. Usually, spirit guides are not people that you knew, but this is someone who you knew in this lifetime. And she said, he's with you. Or no, she didn't say he, this person, she didn't say he at first, but she said, this is a young energy, fun. And I said, is it a male? And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was like, it's this person on this card. And by then we had several cards out, but she said, do you know who this is? And I said, yeah, I know who this is. And when I said his name, she's like, yeah, he wants you to know that he's decided to be, if you'll have him, he's going to be one of your spirit guides. Cause I was asking about that. And she said, usually loved ones don't stay forever, but they'll be here to help you through something. And this was back in February of 2025, before I knew that my husband and I were going to split up. That same night, I got my first Reiki session there, and one of the gals said, you have someone here with you. It's a male, and he wants me to put my hand on your heart. Would you be okay with that?" And she just laid her hand on my heart. And I breathed in that Reiki session and I knew that Ryan was like, it's going to be okay. And I was like, nothing is going wrong, but what is this? Well, little did I know. I mean, less than a month later, my whole life blew up, but I really believe that this boy, his spirit now, you know, evolved, matured. He's learned something through his death. And I did have one other scenario that was really vivid with him in this last year. And I went to a creative writing class, and she had us envision writing a story with a loved one. And of course, like, Ryan is so special to me now. And so he's who I thought of. And I wrote a short story from his perspective. And after I reread it, I decided that this was his story that he wanted to share. So they call it channeling, like he wanted his story to be told. And so I wrote, and I mean, I remember writing it, but I don't remember coming up with it. So when I read it back, I thought, oh, this is really neat. This is really, really neat. So what a good story, right? But I can't really take full credit for it. I feel like he helped me write it. So anyway, I don't really know if there was a true purpose for sharing this story other than to honor him. And I told him today, I was like, I'm going to talk about you on my podcast because you are such a special person in my life. And I'm so, so grateful that for any support that you've given me, because I know you've been around. And so that's what I had to share. I hope you have or will have the chance to have something so special like this with a loved one. I know so many of us have these signs and synchronicities from loved ones that are close to us. So I just say, go ahead and embrace believing, because I mean, for me, it's only been supportive for my life and my personal growth and my spiritual growth. And I feel so connected and purposeful when I think about this experience. So I hope that you get to have one as well. And if you're listening to this and you have had an experience similar, or you have a knowing that you've been connected to loved ones, or that you know they're okay, or that you've had a special experience like this, what do they call it? Paranormal? Is that what they call it? That's made you feel love and freedom and growth. I would love to hear your story. So make sure you share. You can write in with maybe the questions, maybe on the Facebook group, but I would love to hear it. So thanks for listening today. I do have a couple moon workshops coming up I'd love to share with you. We've got a full moon in Scorpio tomorrow, intense maybe, but a chance to be free, have fun, and release something that's not serving you. I'm also doing connection charts for Mother's Day. So if you would like to do a human design reading for you and mom, or if you're a mom, for you and your kid, learn how you guys can get along, how you can tap and support each other's energies and ask good questions because of their energy type. I would love to share that with you. It's been so helpful, both for me knowing what my mom's type is, but also for me as a mom, knowing what my children's types are. So I wanted to offer that with a special discount. So you can do that through May. Okay. Okay. Until next week, have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your takeaways, subscribe, or even leave a review to help others find the show. For more tools and insights, visit my free Facebook group. And until next time, keep embracing exactly who you are and move forward one inspired action at a time.